Here's your microphone. You can stand anywhere within.
You sure nobody else wants to do
I am
it?
positive it is all yours.
How does Rob usually do it? Does he hold it or?
He just puts it onto this like
Okay.
jacket or whatever. You are online.
Right now?
You're now.
Okay.
Live.
Welcome back, hockey fans. Rob is out of town tonight, so you got to fill in, but boy, are we going to have some fun. We got a good one on tap tonight. We welcome the visiting St. Paul Capitals versus your Stillwater Ponies. The Stillwater Capitals Ponies come in facing the Capitals in a tough matchup tonight, so we're ready to drop the puck here shortly. All right, starting lineup for the Ponies tonight. It's looking like Stenza and Hendricks at forward, Michela at center. We've got McNeil and Hansen at D. Caps bring it back up the ice. McNeil pushes him into the corner. Around the back of the net. Mischler coming up, drops it down low. McNeil sends it over to Hansen, up to Grosso, making a run across the blue line. Oh, he's tripped up. St. Paul brings it back the other way. Hansen pushes him behind the net. Out front. With the shot. Blocked by Shea. Melek brings it around, coming up the ice. Drops it down low. Got McGill chasing it behind the net. St. Paul bringing it back up the other way. Ooh. Good D. All right. St. Paul drops it into the zone. Forward steps up. Drops it down low. Good D by Stillwater. That was Bartlett. Another shot. Anderson collects it in the corner. Up to Ward. Another shot by St. Paul and stopped by Hamilton. We're at 12:37 left in the first. Face off down low. St. Paul sends it back to the D. Good defense by Stillwater. That's Bartlett bringing it up. Ward pushes it forward over the blue line. Anderson putting on the pressure. St. Paul around the back of the net. Sends it up. That'll be an ice. We'll take it back to the other end. Mishlar on center. Hendricks collects it. Oh, that was a close shot. Stenza sends it behind the net. Hendricks out front. Just can't get it around. Stenza brings it back. Drops it down low. Hendricks collecting it from the other side. St. Paul comes away with it up the ice. We got a 2-on-2. St. Paul and to send it in for the goal. Able to get Hamilton out of position and send it in. .11:32 left in the first. St. Paul up 1-0. Grosso on center. McGill chasing it behind the blue line. St. Paul collects it. McGill putting on the pressure. McNeil on D. Something low. Good pressure. McGill collects the puck. Sends it up. Malik across with it. Pressured by St. Paul. Grosso sends it down low. That'll be an ice. Ward on center. Fighting for it in the corner. St. Paul comes out with it. Deflected off of Ward on the shot. Ward collects it down low. Comes away with it. Anderson from behind the net. Trying to get a handle on it. St. Paul slaps it away. Stillwater kicks it up and over the boards. St. Paul comes away with the face-off, but Stillwater quickly collects it. Mishler sends it up to Hendricks over the red line. St. Paul comes away with it, deflected. Offsides. Mishler comes away with it. Looks like he got tripped up. No call. Anderson in the defensive zone, brings it around the net. Stinza bringing it up. Sends it past one guy, past two. Sends it towards the net. The goalie is able to cover it. We got the line of Grosso, McGill, and Melick. They were trying to figure out the center. St. Paul with it down low. Back to Jordan at the point. Sends it behind the net. St. Paul comes away with it, bringing it up. It's going to be Berkowitz collecting it. Over to Jordan, sends it up to Melick. St. Paul collects it. We got a call coming. Let's see, that looks like a hook. It is. They're going to get 22 for St. Paul for the hook on that one. All right, Stillwater in their first power play of the night. Let's see if we can come away with something here, boys. Grosso on center. Takes a draw. McGill comes away with it quick. St. Paul comes up with it. Back to the point. Across the blue line. St. Paul sends it over. Grosso collects it. St. Paul picks it up. Looks like Berkowitz is going to get it behind the net. He's going to send it over to Melick on the other side. Melick's going to bring it up, send it down low, sends it on shot, actually, on net. Goalie covers it. We'll have another draw down low. Still early in the first, 8:39 remaining. Ward on point. St. Paul collects it. Sends it up. Across the blue line. Knocked away by McNeil. Good pressure by Ward there. Behind the net. It's like Hansen collects it. Taking his time, deciding where he's going to go. Over to Bartlett. Bartlett brings it up. Sends it over. That's it. Kai Anderson on the other side at the point. St. Paul collects it off the tip. Anderson swipes it away. Hansen, good battle, sends it over to Bartlett on the other side. Bartlett bringing it up. Through two guys, he was able to get that over to Kai Anderson on the other side. Deflected by the St. Paul player. St. Paul able to kill that penalty. Sends it down low. Peterson going to collect it on the D. Bringing it up. Sends it up. He's got Stinza. St. Paul able to come away with it. Hendricks knocks it away. Back to the D. Sends it over the blue line. Berkowitz gets it. Good battle there with Mischler. Sends it across the other side. St. Paul sends it down low. Looks like Anderson's going to be able to knock it back. Stillwater comes out with it, though. Looks like Stinza is able to collect it. He's bringing it up. Sends it up. He's got Hendricks. St. Paul comes away with it off the tip. Mischler battling for it. Mischler comes away with it. Tries to sends it over. The Guy collects it with his hand, knocks it down for St. Paul. Sends it over. We got 1-on-2. St. Paul going to get a shot. Good stop by Hamilton on the save. Berkowitz collects it behind the net. Looking across ice. He's got McGill just off the stick. St. Paul comes around with it. Knocked away by the D. Stillwater sends it over to, it's like Berkowitz. Grosso comes across the blue line with it. Takes a shot on net. Deflected by the goalie. St. Paul deflects it away, sending it up ice. Good stop there by McGill, able to knock it back down low. He's going after it. Good battle. St. Paul sending it back around the net. Oh, deflected by Stillwater. Looked like wasn't able to see who that was on the other side. St. Paul bringing it up across the blue line. Going to take a shot. Deflected by Shea. Jordan in a battle there, sends it across. We got an offsides on St. Paul. All right, we're still at 5:14 in the first. Score is 1-0. St. Paul still in the lead, leading in shots 5-3. Stillwater hanging tough. Let's see if we can get this draw and take it down and score. Ward on the draw. Anderson comes away with it, knocks it up to Ward. Ward sends it down across the blue line. Bartlett deflects that pass from St. Paul. Now St. Paul's able to bring it across. We got another offsides on St. Paul. Ward on the draw again. St. Paul able to come away with it. Back to McNeil. McNeil collects it from his deep position, sends it up to Bartlett. St. Paul sends it down low again. Behind the net, McNeil comes away with it, sends it back up to Bartlett. Down the boards. Bartlett trying to get it across. Intercepted by St. Paul, but here we go. Stillwater just can't quite collect it. St. Paul was able to collect it. Sends a shot in, deflected by Hamilton. We got another call coming.
Scott, did Shea get a piece of that?
I thought he deflected a little bit of it, yeah. All right, looks like we got our first call on Stillwater for the night. Looks like this is going to be on Ward. Got a tripping call on Ward. All right. Stillwater's going to have to kill this one. Hendricks able to come up with the draw. Stenza putting the pressure on. St. Paul recollects it. Stenza, good pressure again. St. Paul coming across. Shot goes wide. Peterson going after it. It'll deflect a bit of it. One's behind the net. St. Paul able to collect it. We got a whistle, though, before the shot.
Finally, goalie interference.
We got goalie interference here.
Go, Shay.
Still trying to kill this penalty. We got 1:05 on the clock to kill. Peterson comes away with it. Sends it across the blue line. St. Paul's going to collect that, bring it around. Stenza putting the pressure on. Over the blue line. Oh, just past the Stillwater guy, around the back of the net. Looking for somebody. He's looking. Good pressure by, looks like Anderson there. able to deflect it away, still killing some time here down low. Again, St. Paul back to their point, takes a shot, able to ring that one in. Just a matter of numbers. They were able to move it around and get that shot off. All right, your new score, St. Paul 2, Stillwater 0. See if we can get something going here off the draw. 3:27 left in the first. Trying to hang tough here. Off the draw, Stenza. Hendricks heading down low. Mischler back to the point. No offsides. That was a shot by Berkowitz and collected by the goalie. All right, we're going to have our next face-off down low off that shot. Grosso on center. St. Paul sends it back, collects it behind the net. Sends it up. Grosso knocked it away, but St. Paul is able to recollect it. Comes across the red line. Good pressure by Berkowitz, knocks it away. Back and forth. Jordan from his D position sends it down low. Shot on goal. Knocked away. Around the back of the net again. Jordan come up to put the pressure on. Keep it down low. St. Paul able to collect it. Sends it up. Good pressure by Jordan there. Mallet comes away. Then St. Paul able to recollect it over to the other side. Back and forth. Berkowitz behind the net. Over to McGill off the boards. Battling on the boards. Grosso's able to come away with it. St. Paul knocked it away from him up over to the other end, just behind the net, where they're able to recollect it. Kai Anderson putting on the pressure. St. Paul sends it up. Hansen able to collect the errant pass, brings it around over the blue line. St. Paul looking to recollect here. Sends it down low into the corner. Chases it. Got a man out front. Shot on net, but Hamilton able to get all over that one and stop it. All right, we're still at 1:26 left in the first. Score still 2-0. St. Paul in the lead. We got a face-off down low. Ward on center. Back to the D for St. Paul. Over to the forward on the far side. Anderson puts on the pressure. Not able to get that shot off. Mixing it up down low. St. Paul tries to send it in. Looks like that was Ward that able to send it around. St. Paul collects it on their end. Comes around the back of the net. Brings it up over the blue line. Peterson collects it behind the net. Up to Anderson, trying to get it over the blue line, just not quite able. There we go. St. Paul's going to have to recollect here. All right, brings it up into the go zone again. Back to his D position. Shot on net, but just wide. Collected by the D, sends it up, just between the legs. St. Paul able to recollect it. Hendricks able to get it, sends it back over the blue line. St. Paul bringing it around. They're going to have to set up again. Tries to knock it down over the blue line into the zone. Berkowitz able to get that. Brings it down low behind the net. Sends it up looking for Hendricks off the boards. Deflected. Stillwater tries to send a shot just before the whistle, but not quite. So that'll be the end of the first. St. Paul leading 2-0. Up in shots as well, 8-5. We'll take a minute break, and we'll be back here for the second period. Welcome back. Ready to get the second period going. Again, St. Paul up 2-0. Let's see if Stillwater can get something going here in this period. Mishler on center, ready for the draw. St. Paul back to the D, up to the forward. Berkowitz able to come away with it off the boards. Sends it over the red line. St. Paul back the other way. Putting on the pressure. Stillwater able to knock it away. Looks like that was Jordan up over the red line. Trying to run it down is Hendricks. Sends it over the boards. Hendricks going to come away with it, knock it towards the net. Over to the other corner. Hendricks gets this deflection off the board, sends it around. St. Paul does the same. Hendricks able to deflect it. St. Paul comes away with it around the net. Tries to send it up. Back to Berkowitz. Shot on net, just wide. Down low, Mishler collects it. St. Paul on the other side. Stenza in a battle. They're trying to come away with it. They're grinding it out on the boards. St. Paul sends it up. Berkowitz keeps it in. Sends it back down low. Stenza. Oh, looking for Mishler on the other side. Just couldn't quite get him. St. Paul sends it over. Berkowitz collects it off the boards. Now Mishler. He's going to bring it up. He's got Stenza with him. Hendricks on the other side. Back to drop pass. Nice drop pass to Stenza. Looks like that was off a St. Paul guy. They're able to bring it back the other way. Waiting for his guys to set it up. That was off of Hansen on the D. St. Paul able to keep it in and sends it down low. Hansen collects it, sends it around. Stenza off the boards. St. Paul brings it around again. Good pressure by Mishler. Back to the St. Paul D. Sends it in for a shot. Tipped, but wide left. St. Paul gets it off the deflection. Down low again. St. Paul not able to get it around. Looks like that was McNeil off the D. He's putting the pressure on the St. Paul guy again. Mishler there as well. Good pressure by Stillwater down low. McNeil knocked it away from him. Mishler right there again as well. Back to in front, takes a shot. Hamilton knocks it away. Hansen off the deflection. That's deflected over the blue line. St. Paul's trying to run it down. They'll bring it back the other way. We got a line change here. Good pressure by McNeil. Shot by St. Paul. That goes wide right. Stillwater comes away with it. That's Grosso. All alone with the shot. Grosso with the score. Stillwater able to narrow the gap here. That's what Stillwater needed to get back into this one. 12:03 left in the second. Off the draw. Grosso across the red line again. Looks like Anderson from the D side sends it over. That's going to go into the zone. Melick chasing it down. Grosso off the deflection. Peterson from his D position collects it. Back around the net again. Up looking for Melick off the boards. They're grinding it out. Looks like the St. Paul guy comes away with it. Then Grosso steals it from him around the other side. No call on that. St. Paul right in front of the net. Good D by Stillwater there. Sends it around off the boards. Looking for Melick again. Collects it. Just trying to get it out of that defensive zone. Coming around to McGill on the boards. He's able to tap it up. But still St. Paul just able to keep it in. Able to get it. Turns, takes a shot, but that goes wide right. Looks like it was deflected. Stillwater collects it again. Melick sends it up over the red line. St. Paul recollecting. It looks like they're trying to reset here. Oh, they run into each other. It was an opportunity. Peterson steps up, collects it from his D position. Deflected by Grosso as he was coming across. Down low, St. Paul collects it in the corner. Up to the D. Good pressure by Kai Anderson and Grosso there. Now Rocco from the D position. St. Paul able to get it, and somehow they were able to sneak that one in. Another shot for a goal. St. Paul goes back up by 2. 3-1 St. Paul, 10:28 left in the second. Stillwater was looking like they were putting the good pressure on. Somehow St. Paul able to come up with that and get the shot off for the score. St. Paul into their zone again. The shot, that goes wide left. Deflected off of Hamilton again. Covers it. All right, we're going to have another face-off down low after that cover. Jordan collects it from his D position around the net, over to Bartlett, up off the boards. Bartlett looking for Ward, can't quite sneak it through. 2 guys there. St. Paul takes a shot on net, but Hamilton able to snatch it up high. We'll have a draw from the other side now down low. Ward back to Berkowitz. Berkowitz brings it around off the boards. St. Paul able to collect it. Spin, takes a shot, but that goes wide. Bartlett collects it around the back of the net. Get past one St. Paul guy. He's got some open ice. Can't quite get it past the second. Ward able to collect it. Down into the corner. St. Paul able to get it and bring it around the other side. Back up ice. Ward with the pressure. Jordan stepping in from the D. St. Paul able to get a shot off, but Hamilton able to deflect it. Back and forth around behind the net. St. Paul back to their D. Knocked away. Looks like that was Jordan again. And we're going to have an ice on the other side for Stillwater. So we'll bring it back to the other end. We're at 9:12 remaining in the second period. Your score is still 3-1, St. Paul leading. Refs make some switch, but Stillwater's able to come away with it off the draw. Stenza, Hendricks coming up together. Looking across ice, but St. Paul able to intercept that one. We got an offsides by St. Paul. St. Paul able to come away with it, brings it down low, gets a shot off, able to get it by Hamilton. Somehow able to sneak that through. All right, St. Paul goes up 4-1. Stillwater's going to have to stand up to get back into this one. Down 4-1, 8:50 left in the second period. Grosso off the point, knocks it back to the D. McNeil collects it from the D position. Looks for McGill. Up ice. Grosso able to collect it over the blue line. St. Paul knocks it away. McGill recollects it over the blue line down into the zone behind the net. St. Paul comes away with it. Deflected, though. Looks like that was Grosso with the deflection. McGill with the pressure. St. Paul bringing it up again. Another shot, but that goes wide. Hansen able to collect it behind the net. Up ice. Grosso bringing it across. St. Paul able to knock it away. St. Paul brings it behind the net this time. Mellick with the pressure down low. Grosso with the pressure as well. Hansen, St. Paul able to get it up to their forward, though, through that pressure. Backed up to Grosso, to Mellick. Looking for Grosso again. Intercepted by St. Paul. Now they're grinding it out on the board. St. Paul knocks it over the blue line. St. Paul back into the zone, back and forth here. Stillwater knocks it back out. St. Paul brings it back in again. Oh, they were looking across ice to get a shot off. Just off the St. Paul stick. Collected behind the net. Looks like that's Rocco Anderson bringing it up. We got a shift change, and we got a call coming now. Looks like this one's going to be on St. Paul again. Let's see what the call is here. Looks like that was a trip on St. Paul. All right, Stillwater with another power play. They couldn't capitalize on the last one. Let's see if they can do something here. Off the face-off, Kai Anderson sticking with it. St. Paul takes it down low. Able to send it across the ice. A guy coming up. McNeil and Anderson with the pressure again. St. Paul able to get a shot off. On the board, St. Paul looking to collect it. They do so. Another shot. Trying to get the backhand there. All right, Kai Anderson comes away with it this time. He sends it up to the forward position. That's Bartlett. Ward there. St. Paul able to knock it away. We got a 2-on-2 now. Anderson and Peterson from their D positions. Good pressure. Behind the net. Good deep. Stillwater. Back the other way. Sends it up ice to Ward. Just can't quite collect it. Looks like it got stuck in the boards there. St. Paul comes across with it. Sends it over to his forward on ice. Deflected by Peterson. Sends it out of the zone. Back and forth. Stillwater coming back the other way. That's Kai Anderson again. Sends it up into St. Paul's zone. They're collected. They're coming across over the red line again. Little drop pass. Take that shot from the D position. That's right on Shea, though. He's able to collect that one easily. St. Paul leading in shots 14-6 at this point. Looking for Stillwater to get off some more shots here in the second period. Still on the power play. 7 seconds left. Jordan collects it behind the net. Back the other way. Looking for Hendricks up ice. Hendricks got it. He brings it across the red line. Sends it down low. Mishler chases it behind the net. St. Paul able to knock it away, back and forth. Mishler going after it. Good pressure. St. Paul sends it back the other way. Jordan able to keep it in. Mishler down low, collects it from behind the net. St. Paul steps in. Back and forth. St. Paul able to collect that one, send it up to his forward up ice. Another shot on net, but again, stopped by Hamilton. He's able to make the cover. Good stop by Shea. We got another face-off down low. We're still at 4:58 remaining in the second period. St. Paul still leads 4-1. We're even strength now. Off the face-off, St. Paul comes away with it, sends it down low into the corner. Back to the point, shot from the D position. Good block by Shea again. Looks like St. Paul tried to get a couple shots in there. Hamilton able to make the cover. Melick bringing it up. Off that draw, sends it past the St. Paul guy to himself down low. He's going to collect that from the corner. Looks for somebody out front. He had McGill for a second. Stopped by the St. Paul goalie back to the D. Looks like that shot was by McNeil. St. Paul able to come away with that deflection. McNeil keeps it in. McGill, again, with the deflection, takes another shot, and that one's collected by the St. Paul goalie as well. A couple shots for Stillwater there. Good to see him start to get off some shots here in the second period, trying to claw their way back into this one, down 4-1. Ward from his center position. St. Paul takes it behind the net. Sends it up ice. Deflected. Looks like that was McNeil again. Sends it down low. Bartlett looks to elect that. He's able to do so. Tries for a shot, but that goes wide. That was off the net. We're going to have another face-off here down low. St. Paul comes away with it. Up over the blue line, over the red line. That's up and over the glass again. We'll have another face-off right in front of the camera here. St. Paul able to come away with it. Down low, tries to get a shot off, but deflected off of Bartlett's skate. Stillwater looking to send it up. Just can't quite get it out of the zone. St. Paul comes away with it. Back to their D. Knocked away by Rocco Anderson. Good job to get it out of the zone. St. Paul looks to recollect. Bringing it back up ice. Over the blue line into the zone again. Knocked away by Stillwater. That's Ward coming away with it. St. Paul. That's Peterson. Back and forth. St. Paul able to collect that. Looking to get a shot off. That's deflected off their own man over to the other side. Bartlett over to Anderson. Back and forth off the boards. Another shot by St. Paul, but that's knocked away by Peterson in front of the net. Able to knock it out to Bartlett. Knocked down low again by St. Paul, but Rocco is able to send it out off the boards again. St. Paul back and forth, looking to take another shot. Back and forth down low. St. Paul back to their D again. That's Anderson right there, deflected off his skate. St. Paul able to keep it in, though. Sends it back down low. Ward with the good pressure. No call. Out in front of the net. Hamilton knocks it away. St. Paul recollects it. Looking out front, but knocked away again by Stillwater. We got a call coming. Looks like this one's going to be on Stillwater. That's going to be on Ward. Let's see what the call is. He put his guy into the boards hard there. There was no call initially, but looks like he's going to get a tripping call. There must have been some back and forth after that initial contact, I think. Actually, they're bringing the St. Paul guy, too. Actually, they're going to get both of them. Looks like they were going back and forth. So this is going to be even strength again. So we got 5-on-5, one guy in the box for both. 2:28 left in the second. That was Mishler off the center position again. Knocked behind the boards. Mishler collects it, bringing it up ice. Looks across ice. Nice pass. Over to Stenza. Stenza across the blue line. Got Hendricks and Mishler down low, looking for Mishler. Just can't quite get it across. St. Paul's there to knock it away. St. Paul able to get it up to their forward position, bring it across. Ooh, he's got his guy. Oh, across ice to the other forward, and that was a shot on net, but just off the post. Oh, Stillwater looking to bring it back the other way. Missed on it. Mishler is able to capitalize on that miss by Stillwater, and then Stillwater is able to come up behind him, but Stenza knocks it away. We're back and forth here. Now St. Paul's bringing it across the blue line with another shot on net, but deflected by Hamilton again. Somehow that was deflected in. So St. Paul was able to get a shot off there. Looks like it was deflected off of somebody and knocked into the net. That was unfortunate. All right, so we're at 1:29 remaining in the second. Still have one guy in the penalty box for both Stillwater and St. Paul. That's Ward on the Stillwater side. 32 seconds left on the penalty. St. Paul able to take it off the draw, sends it into the zone. McGill chases it over the boards. Good pressure. St. Paul sends it around. Malik able to collect it, sends it up. Able to get it down into the zone. Grosso chasing it. Down into the corner, he's grinding. Now we got Malik and Grosso. Grosso's able to come away with it, sends a shot on net, but goalie's able to stop it. Malik from the corner sends it in front of the net, back and forth. St. Paul's able to get it. Just able to get it out of the zone. We got a one-on-one. McNeil sends him down low into the corners. Stillwater able to come away with it. Back and forth. St. Paul deflected it. And we're going to have a break here. It looks like we have a guy down for Stillwater. Looks like he kind of got twisted around. They were kind of battling. That was Grosso and the St. Paul guy, and he just kind of went down awkwardly. But he's able to get up, make his way to the bench, and we'll reset here. We got 39 seconds left in the first. So the penalty's killed. Ward's back to his center position. St. Paul able to come away with it, sends it over the blue line into the zone. Rocco Anderson tries to send it out. Now Kai Anderson brings it across. He's over the red line, sends it down low. Ward's chasing it behind the net. Able to knock it back to Kai Anderson. Tries to send it around. Just can't quite get it past that St. Paul guy. Now St. Paul brings it up over the red line again. Good pressure by Rocco Anderson. St. Paul able to get it across to his other guy that was posting up in front and puts another one down. That was a tough one. He had a guy posting up, and it was a beautiful pass. He was able to get right to him. Just able to get that in with 10.6 seconds left in the second. Off the face-off. That's Peterson, sends it across, down low into the corner. St. Paul collects it. Ward chasing it. And we got the end of the second period. So that's 2. So your score after 2, St. Paul 6, Stillwater 1. St. Paul also leading on shots still 18-10. We'll take another brief break here, and we'll be back for the third period. We knew this was going to be a tough battle coming into it, and St. Paul's making sure of that. We're just ready to go into the third here. Again, St. Paul up 6-1. Let's see if Stillwater can start to put together a little bit of a run here and claw back into this one again. All right, third and final period. This is at 15 minutes left to play. That's Mishler on the center position again, able to get it across up to Stenza. And St. Paul able to knock it away. They got two guys down low. Looking to recollect it, sends it across up ice. That's going to go all the way down. That's going to be an ice on St. Paul. So we'll bring it back into the offensive zone again. Mishler on point. Looks like Hendricks looking for it there. Can't quite get it. Stenza is able to collect it. Keeps it in. St. Paul knocking it back and forth. Able to get it across the blue line now. Berkowitz tries to get it back in. Stenza recollects it. Down to Hendricks. Down low. Hendricks comes away with it. Again over to Stenza. Looks for Mishler. Oh, that was a beautiful pass. Just not able to get it up over the goalie's pad. Trying to get another shot in there. Hendricks with the pressure. St. Paul brings it across down into the offensive zone again for themselves. Tries to drop pass, but nobody home. Hendricks able to collect it, send it up ice, and St. Paul comes away with it again. Now St. Paul bangs it across again. We're going to have a stoppage in play. Looks like the clock wasn't running there, so we're going to see. So they're going to reset here. They're going to wind the clock and let it run a little bit. Looks like it was about 10 seconds difference there. So they're back on time now. Back from the point again. That's Grosso on center. Back to Melick. Melick brings it around, sends it up over to the red line, but St. Paul's able to come away with it. And there it's an offsides on St. Paul. Grosso on point. St. Paul able to come away with it, but knocks it back to McNeil. Up over the boards. McGill with the pressure. St. Paul on the boards, but Stillwater putting on the pressure again. Down into the zone, sends it behind the net. Hansen with the pressure. Melick able to come away with it. He's looking for, he's got Grosso now. Grosso's bringing it up ice. He's with McGill. They got a 2-on-2. Grosso looking to get it in, but St. Paul able to knock it away. Sends it up ice again. It looks like that's going to be another, no, they wave it off. Somebody must have touched it. McNeil able to collect it behind the net, though. St. Paul tries to take a shot from the D, but not enough on it. Now they're able to recollect it. Brings it down low again. Back to their D. Trying to pressure. Just can't quite get there. Shea knocked a shot away. St. Paul brings it behind the net again. He's looking for his D. Good pressure by Melick. They're going to get that out of the zone. Able to recollect a little bit. Get a line change here for Stillwater. Some fresh legs. Now St. Paul brings it up over the blue line again. Rocco Anderson brings it up ice. He's able to bring that one all the way down into the zone. He's going to tries to get a shot off just wide. Nobody on the other side. And we got a call coming. That was definitely a call on St. Paul there. Looks like we're going to get a call on St. Paul for a cross check. So, got our third power play of the night for the Ponies. Let's see if the Ponies can finally capitalize on one here. Ward from his center position again. St. Paul takes it back. Up the boards. We got a 2-on-2. There's an offsides. Looks like the St. Paul guy on the other side was just over the line. So we're into running clock now that the score is 7-1. St. Paul with it, brings it up over the blue line again. Has plenty of time to get a shot off, but deflected by Stillwater. Plenty of guys there to mix it up. Ward comes away with it. Sends it over to the other side to Peterson at his D position. Sends it up ice to Kai Anderson. Knocks it over the blue line. St. Paul able to collect it behind the net, taking his time to look for his guy. Now he's going to bring it himself up over the blue line. From the left side, behind the net, brings it around. We got plenty of pressure from Stillwater here. A lot of pressure up to Bartlett. Now Bartlett's going to bring it up over the red line, into the zone, dumps it down low. Kai Anderson looking to collect it behind the net. Stillwater able to knock it up though. Mishler keeps it in momentarily, but St. Paul able to knock it out. Now they're bringing it up ice. Good pressure from Bartlett there. Looks for his guy on the other side. Takes a shot on net, but deflected by Hamilton again. St. Paul able to get another shot off there, but just wide left. That's one's going to come around the boards again, out of the zone. St. Paul's recollects it, looking for his guy. Brings it back in. Mishler and Berkowitz in tow, chases him down. Another shot deflected by Hamilton. That was Mishler again, trying to get it out of the zone. He's got Hendricks there with him. Now Hendricks gets it out of the zone. He's going to bring it up. Hendricks brings it in. Pressure by St. Paul. He's able to get a shot off, knocked away, back into the corner. Mishler's there to knock it back around the other side. Hendricks mixing it up down low. Now we got Hendricks and Mishler. Looks like down. No, that's Stenza and Hendricks trying to get it off the boards. Got two St. Paul guys. St. Paul able to come away with it, but Jordan from his D position is able to deflect it. Bring it back into the offensive zone. St. Paul with the pressure. Now St. Paul sends it out. Gets it across the blue line. He's going to have a shot here. Oh, not able to get much on it, so Hamilton able to easily knock it away. Sends it back into the corner. Now we got Grosso coming back the other way. Looks like he was just offsides. Looking for Hendricks coming across the other side. Looks like we were just offsides there for Stillwater. All right, we're going to reset right here in front of the camera again. We got 8:33 remaining in the third. Running clock again. Score 7-1. St. Paul in the lead. St. Paul comes away with it off the draw. Brings it up ice over the blue line. Hansen with the pressure. St. Paul looking for somebody across the other side, but nobody there. Mellick steps in, puts good pressure on it, and able to knock it away to Hansen. Now Hansen comes away with it. Pressured by St. Paul again, knocks it up ice. St. Paul looking to bring it back the other way. Knocked away, looks like that was McGill that was able to get a stick in there. Mellick, good pressure. Hansen steps in while Mellick had the guy distracted, brings it up ice. Now McGill able to get it off the deflection, brings it across. Looks to bring it across the blue line, but knocked away. St. Paul brings it into their offensive zone. Hansen, good pressure again. Grosso steps in, knocks it back. Back to the D for St. Paul, takes a shot. Deflected by McGill again. Knocks away. St. Paul able to come away with it. Tries to do a wraparound, but Shea's right there and says, no thank you. Stillwater brings it up the other side again. We got Grosso across ice to Melick. Melick just off the ice of the St. Paul guy. Can't get it into the zone. Grosso steps in. Now we got a handful of guys mixing it up on the boards. All right, we're going to get a line change here. 6:56 again. Looks like we're going to have our face-off here at center ice. Back to Rocco Anderson. Sends it up to Ward again. Stillwater able to collect it, but back and forth. Back into Ward in the offensive zone. He takes a shot. That's deflected by Stillwater into the corner. That's Bartlett mixing it up. St. Paul comes away with it. Ward steps in. Sends it back down low. St. Paul over to Bartlett. Bartlett tries to take a shot, but that goes wide. Peterson steps in from the D position to keep it in. Now St. Paul with it again, down low. Ward puts the pressure on. He's mixing it up. They're battling for it. St. Paul steps in, comes away with it. Across the other side, off the boards. Sends it up, but Rocco's there. He's able to collect it. Tries to send it up to Bartlett again. Bartlett has it. He's bringing his backs into the O-zone. Bartlett with it. Back to his D. Looks like that was deflected in front of the net, so St. Paul's able to come away with it. Here they come again up ice. Sends it over. Ward deflects that one. Back behind the net. Peterson has it. Peterson comes away with it again. He's looking to send it up ice. Just deflected by St. Paul. They're able to get a shot off, but that goes high over the net, around the boards again. Now St. Paul recollects it. Resets, brings it up ice. Back into the zone. Knocked away by Anderson. Tries to send it in front. Ooh, and they had that guy posting up again. That was another nice pass right to the guy in front of the net. He couldn't have been in a better position. Unfortunately, we're not able to get in front of it and stop that one. So St. Paul gets another score. They go up 8-1 at this point. We're at 4:48 left in the third. Off the draw. St. Paul comes away with it, knocks it into their offensive zone. Jordan chasing it into the corner. Mischler comes away with it. He sends it up to Stenza. Back to Mischler, coming up ice. Mischler's going to take that one on his own. Says thank you, right to the front of the net. Takes a shot, and he buries that one from the top of the net. That was a beautiful pass up ice from Stenza to Mischler, and Mischler takes that one all the way to the goal. Stillwater puts their second score on the board here at 4 minutes left to go in the third. So your new score, St. Paul leading 8-2 over the Ponies. Off the draw again. St. Paul comes away with it, sends it up ice. Mischler chasing it into the corner again. Comes around. Sends it out of the zone. St. Paul able to take it. Looking to send it back in. Mischler comes around with it. He's looking across ice. That's deflected by St. Paul. St. Paul able to get it over to his own guy. Looking again. They're doing a nice job of having somebody right there posted up. They're passing it back and forth, looking for the open guy. Now we're down low again. That was deflected. That goes wide. Berkowitz chases it down into the corner. Berkowitz pressured by St. Paul. Sends it around. Hendricks collects it on the other side. He looks to send it up ice. He hits Mischler coming across again. That's Mischler bringing it up. He sends it over the blue line back into the corner. We're going to have another line change here. That's Hansen. Good pressure by Colby Hansen. Sends a shot on net, but deflected by the goalie. Back around the other side. McNeil collects it from his D position. Sends it down low again. He was looking for McGill. Grosso has it down low, looking for somebody out front. He has Hendricks from the corner, and they bury that one. So Stillwater gets their third goal on net. So 2 quick goals by Stillwater to get back on the board here. So it's 8-3. We're going to go back to regular time. So no running time now that the differential is down to 5 points. So Stillwater trying to claw their way into this one. They got 2 quick goals there. Let's see what they can do here now with 2:26 left in the third. Off the draw, Stillwater trying to knock it away. St. Paul bring it up. Melick steps in. He knocks it away. Over to McGill and Grosso bringing it up together. Now McGill, Grosso, and Melick. And we got an offsides. They were just a little bit ahead of that one. Taken by Peterson at the D position. Melick trying to get a stick in there. Grosso trying to get in there. McGill, everybody trying to knock it away. Melick puts the pressure on him. Back to McGill. Grosso in there. St. Paul knocks it down low. Collected in the corner from their own guy. Peterson puts the pressure on. Back to their D on the other side. Now he sends it back to his forward. He's going to try to take a shot, but Stillwater able to get a stick on it. Back to McGill, to Grosso. We got Grosso and Melick in a 2-on-1. St. Paul able to chase him down. St. Paul brings it back the other way. Good pressure by Peterson. St. Paul takes a shot, but knocked away by Hamilton. Now Melick with the pressure. McGill and Grosso. Up to McGill. McGill brings it across the red line. Sends it down low. It's a shot on net. Knocked away by St. Paul. They're going to collect that one. He won't cover it. Now St. Paul brings it up as we get another line change. We got 1:09 left. Tries to send it up. Deflected off. Looks like that was Kai Anderson with the pressure there. That's going to go wide. Rocco Anderson brings it around the other side. Back to the D point. That's deflected by Kai Anderson. And then collected by Peterson. Peterson looks for Kai Anderson. Sends it up over the blue line. Kai chasing it down. Down low, sends it in front of the net. Fortunately, nobody home. That was a beautiful drop pass. Bartlett from the other side tries to send it around. Berkowitz back to Ward. And then Jordan collects it finally. He's going to send it around the corner. Back to Berkowitz on the other side. St. Paul steps in. Jordan steps in. Back to Kai Anderson again. Tries to get it out, but St. Paul able to get another shot on net. That's stopped by Hamilton again. So we're stopped at 14.2 seconds remaining in the third. Off the draw, that was Ward. Around the other side. Tries to send it up to Kai Anderson. Just can't quite chase it down. Oh, Bartlett tried to keep it in, but looks like we were just offsides there. Not quite quick enough. Able to get it with 2.1 seconds remaining in the third. Ward from his center position again. 2.1 seconds. This is going to be a quick one. Let's see if they try to get at least one shot off. Berkowitz steps in. They can't get anything. So that's going to be your final, folks. St. Paul's going to win this one 8-3 over the Ponies. It was good to see Stillwater come back and get a couple of late goals there to stay in it, that it didn't end in running time. Final shots, St. Paul had 29 shots. Your Ponies had 15 shots. It was a good effort by the Ponies. St. Paul, we knew they were going to be a good team coming into this one, and they come away with the win. So that'll be it for tonight from the St. Croix Valley Recreation Center. We'll see you again tomorrow morning where the Ponies will take on New Richmond again. We'll see you tomorrow, folks.
Thank you, sir. Awesome job.